It's a collection most any girl would die for.
That's almost too much Barbie for a girl.
A house full of dolls from all over the world.
You couldn't even walk into the room. There were thousands.
So what makes this inheritance so strange? Say hello to the air.
Mother, why? Me being a boy, why was it dolls?
She had a dying wish.
Please don't throw these dolls away. Find a home for them, and that's what I want to do.
But does the man have a plan?
They call me the doll boy.
How's that working out for you?
I thought you can call me whatever you want. I've got a pretty good inheritance here, boys.
I'm Jamie Colby, and I'm driving into Portales, New Mexico, along the Texas border and near the Cannon Air Force Base. You know, the welcome sign here says it all. 17,000 friendly people and 3 or 4 old grouches. I'm here to meet a man whose strange inheritance certainly called for that kind of sense of humor.
My name is John Wall. My mother, Irene Wall, passed at 90 years old. She had left me with a very large collection that meant a lot to her, but I didn't know what to do.
Great, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to my home. Well, so what do you think? All these dolls.
Wow.
This is kind of the way it was in my mom's house, only they were so many more.
Johnny, I feel like I'm 8 years old again with all these dolls.
Well, I have the reputation around here as the doll boy, but I don't know anything about them.
Looking around, you have earned that reputation. What are you going to do?
The goal of my mom's and mine was to find a home for them, and that's what I want to do.
The collection meant the world to John's mother because of the world she grew up in.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
When the U.S. enters World War II, 20-year-old Irene Jennings is teaching high school in her hometown of Dora, New Mexico. She's barely older than her students.
This is when she graduated from New Mexico State University.
Now, for the time, graduating from college is very important for a woman.
Very important back then. Very few got to be there.
Of all the inheritances I've learned about, your family has suffered so much pain. It started with your mother's brother.
Yes.
Tell me about him.
He was drafted after Pearl Harbor, and they were sent to the Philippines.
Irene's brother Vernon is one of more than 60,000 American and Philippine soldiers captured by the Japanese on the Bataan Peninsula. They're forced to march 80 miles in scorching heat without food, water, or medical care. Thousands die of exhaustion. Some are executed by the Japanese.
Did your mom think that her brother was going to come home?
They always had hopes.
Many of the boys in Irene's classroom are eager to sign up and fight. Their way of assuring her that they will return is to promise to bring her something back, like a doll maybe.
Your mom was such a beloved teacher that they brought her these dolls.
Even back then, Mother was known to be a doll lover, and the students would bring them to her.
The returning vets do bring Irene dolls from all over the world. Rare geisha dolls from Japan, lifelike celluloid dolls from Germany, and beautiful Duchess dolls from France.
For Irene, whose hard-scrabble youth left little time for fantasy,
her foreign dolls open a window to the big wide world.
My grandparents were sharecroppers. Toys was not one of those luxury items they had a lot of, and I think once she became financially able, she had those feelings that I love dolls, and I think that's what I would like to collect.
When the war ends in 1945, Irene finally gets a letter saying her brother Vernon died in captivity.
He had died during this death march deal and was buried in the Philippines.
In a twist of fate, this tragic news brings Irene in contact with the man she would eventually marry, a man who nearly starved to death in a Japanese prison camp.
When my dad came home from the service, he felt he owed it to the families of Roosevelt County to go around and talk to them about their loved ones that they lost. And my mother's brother was one of them. And then that's where they got acquainted.
As she collected all these dolls, what did your dad say?
My dad let my mother have a lot of reins. Irene was a very keen woman.
John Wall Jr. is their only child. He grows up, marries a hometown gal, starts a family of his own, and gets a job as a groundskeeper at New Mexico State University. Over the years, Irene's ever-growing collection is a marvel to her great-niece, Lori Davis.
Every year we went over there, there were more dolls in her house.
There was Campbell's Soup dolls, Flintstone dolls, dolls like Shirley Temple.
Irene invests thousands of dollars into collecting a wide variety of dolls. Then in 1977, her husband, John Sr., dies of respiratory failure at the age of 63. Irene's obsession with dolls only grows after her husband's death. That worries her little sister, Juanita.
I'd say, Irene, do you know what a mess your house is in? And she'd say, it's my house.
Juanita asks her daughter Emma and her granddaughter Laurie to go to Irene's house and conduct a head count. A census might be more like it. Are there hundreds of dolls? 1,000? Many thousands?
I was shocked, and I know Lori was really shocked.
That's next.
But first, our strange inheritance quiz question. The world's priciest doll is the $6 million clockwork Loiseleur doll. What makes it so special? It was owned by Marie Antoinette? It was the Barbie prototype? Or because it has thousands of moving parts? The answer in a moment. So what makes the $6 million clockwork Loiseleur doll so special? The answer is C. The 4-foot-tall French doll is also known as the bird trainer and has more than 2,300 gilt or steel parts.
John Wall's mother, Irene, had always promised to leave him with a strange inheritance, her extensive collection of dolls. Maybe promise is the wrong word. Threaten is more like it.
Didn't you ever wish your mom bought half as many dolls and put the other half in a bank account for you?
Oh, yes. It would have been sure enough easier. But then again, maybe she wanted my inheritance to be a bit of a challenge. I don't know.
By 1990, no one knows exactly how many dolls Irene's collected in her house in Portales, New Mexico, and she shows no sign of slowing down. Irene's younger sister, Juanita, enlists her daughter, Emma, and granddaughter, Lori, to visit Aunt Irene. And while they're there, find out just how many dolls she has.
I was shocked, and I know Lori was really shocked. The first room we tackled, you had to suck up, yes, to walk around.
Right.
We knocked some dolls off while we were counting.
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is collecting or hoarding. I've never seen anybody with that many dolls.
Emma and Lori are flabbergasted to see dolls packed like sardines, occupying every room in the house.
We're counting one by one, and we're just overwhelmed.
The final tally for Irene's collection? Over 5,000 dolls. It's time for an intervention.
Enough was enough on the doll collection. I had to sit down and speak with her about the matter, and it was hard.
Irene is fiercely opposed to just throwing away her lifelong collection. Next-door neighbor, Susie Knuckles, comes to the rescue.
I do a lot of eBay, and so he knew that because we're neighbors, and we just decided, let's do it. And we went to his mom's house, and it was full of dolls everywhere you looked. And so we started just looking them up and just getting an idea.
One of the first things they learn on eBay, Irene Wall isn't the only one obsessed with dolls.
There's some people that are on there continuously watching these dolls. It's amazing.
Dolls are scooped up by buyers from all over the world. One of Irene's favorites, a German celluloid doll, likely a gift from a returning World War II vet, is bought for $225. John and his wife Lynn are mesmerized by the bidding process.
It sometimes would get down to the last 5 minutes for sure. Then those prices would just run through the ceiling, and Lynn thought it was kind of like playing a slot machine.
Over the summer of 2007, they sell about 60 dolls to online bidders for a total of $15,000.
And Mama was happy.
I could tell by the look in her eye, the amazement was, I told you so.
But out of 5,000 plus, it's not even a dent in the collection. Then in April 2010, John's beloved wife Lynn passes away at the age of 57. 18 months later, his mother Irene dies too at 90.
I lost Mother, and I lost Lynn to cancer. And that's the hardest thing I've told people you'll ever lose, is a wife and a mother.
His children are grown up and on their own, leaving John with more than 4,000 dolls to sell to keep his promise to his mom. Now, John gets help from a second lady friend, Patty Beggs, who, like John, has also suffered the death of a spouse.
Did John ask you for help?
Oh, no, we just was there for each other, and he needed help. I don't know if he asked or if I volunteered, but we just started doing it and knew we had to do something with them.
Between Susie and Patty, it just seems as if women like coming to John's rescue.
Those dolls ended up helping you out in those young days.
and evidently it did. I was around some awfully nice girls in my life.
In 2011, John and Patty actually start dating. With Patty's help, John rents a storefront in downtown Portales from Thanksgiving until Christmas and calls it the Doll House. The dolls sell like hotcakes, some for $1, some for $10.
It went really well. We had lots of people in because everybody wanted to buy the dolls, hear the story.
And meet John.
But he was mine at that time, so they couldn't have him.
I like that. You must have a reputation around town.
They call me the doll boy.
How's that working out for you?
Once everything started going with both eBay and the Doll House, I thought, you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I've got a pretty good inheritance here, boys.
And John does make a tidy sum, $5,000 on the store. Add to that the $15,000 from eBay, and he's liquidated the bulk of his mom's doll collection for $20,000. But his job isn't over. John still has close to 1,000 dolls stacked in his barn that he's yet to unload.
Will selling the doll collection help your life?
It will help me to know that I've fulfilled what my mother asked of me.
Well, if that's what's important to you, Johnny, I want to help.
Oh, I would love that more than anything. There is a few of them out there you might like to see, too.
Ooh.
Do you like Barbies? There are 19 boxes of solid Barbies.
Barbie?
Yes.
That's next.
Here's another quiz question for you. Which of these toys sold for the highest price at auction? Was it the 1963 G.I. Joe prototype, a diamond Barbie, or the gold-plated Nintendo Wii? The answer in a moment. So, which of these special edition toys sold for the highest price at auction? The answer is B, the Canturi Diamond Barbie, which sports a 4-carat pink and white diamond necklace. It sold for over $300,000 in 2010.
John Wall's mother leaves him a strange inheritance. More than 5,000 dolls from all over the world. Now he's taking me out to his barn to show me the last of his mother's collection and what he believes may be the cream of the crop. John's hopeful the rest of his mother's dolls are worth one more big payday.
Close to 500 of these Barbies, still in their original boxes.
Johnny?
I knew there'd be one just for me.
Seriously, Sagittarius Barbie?
Yeah.
I am a Sagittarius. You know what? Earrings? Check. Evening gown? Check. Beautiful silky hair? Check. This is me.
Everything, yes.
And you have almost 500 of these Barbies? That's almost too much Barbie for a girl.
Yes.
Then I know someone that may be able to tell us what it's worth.
To help John out, we contact Tim Luke of the Treasure Quest appraisal group based in South Beach, Florida.
Here's Tim.
He's the former director of the collectibles department at the famed Christie's Auction House in New York.
I understand you've got a great collection.
Tim has agreed to help appraise John's strange inheritance.
You looked at all these Barbies. I really need your opinion.
Well, Barbie's a cultural icon. I think that today you see a lot of people that are in their 40s and over. That's the demographic that is really holding on to this. It's that nostalgia.
Barbie's Dream House.
In 1959, the first year of production, Mattel sold more than 300,000 Barbies, and a first edition can go for about $8,000 today.
Suntan Barbie.
Yes, her features are a tad unrealistic, but she's a strong female character, beautiful, powerful, and rich, and that's what attracts collectors.
How do you tell what year a Barbie's made?
Well, the very first year that they came out, Mattel had to recall and change. They had to soften her features because she looked too much like a Lady of the Night. And the mothers, the mothers, they just uproar because of the eyeliner and shadow. And the number ones will have a hole in the foot, both feet, because there was a stand that Barbie came on.
There are Ken dolls here, too. Is Ken more valuable than Barbie?
No, he doesn't even rate.
I'm thinking, and they call John Doll Boy? Sounds like Tim's just the guy to tell us what John's collection is really worth.
My mother's thoughts were that it was worth over $25,000 for that Barbie collection alone.
Johnny, the most important thing is to fulfill Mother's wish.
Will it be the payday John is hoping for? That's next.
Now, back to Strange Inheritance.
Here's Tim.
John Wall is hoping doll expert Tim Luke can give him some good news about the value of his remaining inheritance. About 500 mint-condition Barbies, all in their original boxes. Of the 5,000 dolls his mother collected, this is the bulk of what's left.
Tim, we went through all these Barbies. There's plenty of them. You have to have an opinion.
The downside is that most of them are from the 90s.
But they say collector.
They do. And don't be seduced by the box.
So let me stop you there. You're saying that this Barbie is a reproduction.
This is the 50th anniversary, but this came out in the 90s as a celebration of the 50th anniversary. Not as valuable.
Johnny told me he thinks 10 to 15, maybe 25,000 for all of this. How off the mark is he?
I think he's close to the lower end.
Tim thinks John can still make about $10,000 with a good strategy.
I think the best way to do this is to put these on eBay because it's worldwide. Somebody may only need one item for their collection, and they're going to pay a premium for it.
Time to share the expert opinion with the air.
Your mother had such a wonderful time putting this all together. What I suggest is that you put these on eBay. They're all saleable, and they could all do well.
John takes the sober appraisal of $10K like a man.
And what do you think Mother would say?
Well, she'd say, we got to do what we got to do, baby. You know, let's move with it.
I'm here. I got my checkbook. I would like to take the last of that series, the Sagittarius. I'm thinking I'm going to offer $100.
I think that's very fair. But if you wanted to step up and offer him $200.
Hell no.
Hey, we'll have an auction. Wait a minute. We'll do an auction. I know. I'm looking out for my client here.
Before I go, I get my Barbie Sagittarius, and I ask John if he plans to save any of his mother's other dolls. He says just a few, in particular those fragile Japanese dolls from World War II, a reminder of how his mother started collecting them in the first place.
I kept going back to what my mom told me about them, to please respect it as an inheritance. I've did everything I can to do it in a way that is respectful to her wishes.
And here's a note to those of you who might want to start a Barbie collection of your own. To tell when a vintage Barbie was manufactured, you have to take a look under her dress in the back. In the early days, when Barbie was made in Japan, the year each model was created got stamped on her right buttock. Now, that's a pretty private hiding place, proving that Barbie's age is really no one's business but her own. I'm Jamie Colby for Strange Inheritance, and remember, you can't take it with you.
Do you have a strange inheritance story you'd like to share with us? We'd love to hear it. Send me an email or go to our website, strangeinheritance.com.